Hello and welcome to Reality TV Cringe. I'm Delia. I'm one of the co-hosts of this fantastic podcast, and I'm here with my bodacious daughter-in-law and my real tight homegirl, Beatrice.
That's me.
We are here to put a cork in. Welcome to Plathville.
Yes, bitch.
We watched the final episode. It was fantastic.
It was lit.
And I'm very excited to get into it now. But before we do, as ever, we must warn you, don't get all sensitive about the stuff that we say because we're politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Do we need to continue to say that? I mean, are we?
I feel like people still get offended, even though we warn them every single week.
Well, but I mean, it has nothing to do with politics. We never talk politics. We're just incorrect.
Yeah.
We're incorrect. We're stupid. We're dum-dums, and we just have fun in a dumpster watching reality TV. So truly, if you are, you might want to find yourself another podcast or another dumpster, babes.
Go away.
But if you're ready to see the takedown of Veronica Peters,
oh my God,
and the conclusion of Kim and Barry's marriage,
and Ethan and Olivia's,
sort of,
yeah.
Well, then welcome to this dumpster.
And if you like what we do over here, please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Reality TV Cringe and join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Reality TV Cringe. The VIP dumpster is where it's at. We have so much bonus content, ad-free episodes every single week, and more.
Yeah, the month of October on Patreon, by the way, we are going to be doing a little bit of a book review for Christine Brown Woolley's book entitled Sister Wife. And I've got so much shit to say about that.
Me too.
In fact, we're going to sit down and record our first installment right after this.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a great month. And then, of course, we've got the holidays and we get stupid and I'm usually drunk and we have parties. And so come on to Patreon for that.
It's going to be so much fun.
Now, if you're watching on YouTube, hello.
Hi.
You look lovely today. Stunning, in fact.
God, so hot.
I'm attracted. But thank you for being here. Please don't forget to like and comment and share and subscribe because everything you do truly helps us to grow, and we're growing slowly.
We are growing.
But we're growing.
We are.
I mean, we got to keep the eye on the prize.
You got to be thankful for the little steps.
Are so little, Beatrice. I came back from vacation. I'm like, well, maybe we're up 100 people.
No.
Absolutely not. Is YouTube throttling us?
I think so.
Now, why would they, though?
We're getting shadow banned.
Why are we shadow banned? Us? We're getting shadow banned?
I don't know.
Ridiculous.
I think it's 'cause we're so hot.
People are intimidated by you in particular. Apple bottom jeans with the boots and the furs or whatever.
With the fur.
Anyway, so if you could do all of those things, it's truly helpful. Well, not always, but we're hoping, we're keeping faith that those things will help us to grow. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. All right. Last time I'm going to ask you, did you have any takeaways after this very fantastic cap on the season, Beatrice?
This episode was so freaking good.
Yeah.
I guess my only takeaway, though, is Kim at the end demanding Barry to buy her a bottle of wine and not a glass of wine. I'm like, girl, that's not the look that you think it is. I'm just kind of surprised that she wants everybody to know she definitely is an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's a validation of all of the criticism that we have been leveling at you about being an intoxicated DUI unfaithful help. Yeah. And now you've confirmed it. And she gets toasted.
Yeah.
And she's speaking to the cameras and commenting about her meeting with Barry and she's drunk.
Yeah, totally drunk.
Okay, my takeaway, and this is going to be controversial, so don't come at me, bros or hoes. But I'm kind of taking a shine a little bit to Kim.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I kind of like how she dealt with Veronica.
Oh, yeah.
I liked how she advocated for her kids.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the scene with Ethan. I personally, maybe it's me as a mom, I like seeing her build back some of these relationships, even though the foundation of this is alcohol and cigars and violence.
And sugar.
And sugar. A lot of sugar. I just kind of liked to see that.
Yeah.
And I even liked seeing her sit down with Barry and working it all out. I don't know. I just had a different feeling about her.
Yeah. You know what? I would agree. I thought she was pretty based when she was handling Veronica too. And just telling her at the end, we'll get there, but it was pretty great.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so without any further ado, let's get into Welcome to Plathville, Season 7, Episode 11, entitled
The Reckoning.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is about Veronica.
It's about to go
it's
down.
So good. But before we get into all of that, we have just kind of a brief scene at the beginning with Lydia and Zach. They're on their way to their European honeymoon. They're going to go to Paris for a couple days, and then they're going to go to Germany on their mission trip or something. I don't know. And do some Christian things. But they're like in the car on the way to the airport or something. And Zach says something like, yeah, now we can kiss, among other things. And I'm like, please, I don't want to think about that. And then they have their little talking head with the producers, and the producers are like, so how was the wedding night? And of course, Lydia and Zach kind of skirt around the question, and Lydia's like, it was pure and beautiful.
Pure.
What does that mean?
That's an interesting, is that an adjective?
I don't know
either. It's not an adverb. Maybe it's not. Whatever.
I don't know.
It's a very strange thing to say.
It kind of made me think they didn't fuck.
Me too. Maybe they hugged a lot. And
maybe they hugged naked.
And sang to Jesus about their love.
Yeah.
But it was an odd statement to make. I agree.
I thought it was very weird. And Zach goes on a weird tangent where he says there's a lot of beautiful soul ties and connections that you can create when you have sex with somebody. And I'm like, okay, so did you create that then? Did you guys create your beautiful soul connection?
But wasn't he talking about making a soul connection with the environment?
Yeah. Like it has to be in the right environment. So I wonder if he was like, oh, the vibe's off.
Oh.
Like, oh, I don't know if I can get hard in the hotel.
Ever. For you.
Yeah.
Lydia.
It just felt really
strange.
Odd to me.
The whole thing's been strange throughout the entire season. But like, Lydia, if you like it,
that's cool.
I love that. And I hope you're happy. God bless.
And maybe it's just weird because they're like both virgins or something. And so they're a little awkward and don't know how to talk about it. I don't know.
Well, do you think they're like Christian fundamentalist virgin, or do you think they're like Mormon virgin?
Oh,
where they've been soaking?
No, I think they're Christian fundamentalists.
Where they've been putting it in the boo-boo.
Oh.
It doesn't count if it go into boo-boo.
No. I feel like they're like Christian fundamental, like super like, oh. Okay. But I don't know. I mean, Ethan and Olivia, when they were dating and stuff, they were doing a lot. They were making out and touching each other and everything. So it seemed like it was more natural for Ethan's side. I feel like Lydia would be more like, I want to see your body. I feel like Zach's like, ew.
Why?
I don't know. It's just a vibe.
Okay.
It's just a vibe. And then Lydia and Zach also say in their talking head that they are unaware of any drama that happened at their wedding because they thought their wedding was really beautiful and they had a really magical time and they were really happy to have all of their friends and family there. So they are completely unaware at this point in time that the fight happened, that we're having a real life Veronica intervention, which we pop on over back to the Plath farm to finish up.
Yes, we do. And I want to start with a compliment to Veronica.
What?
Shocking.
Why?
Her hair is so pretty.
Yeah, I guess.
When it's not like just straightened, so straight and long, like when there's a wave to it. And when she's caught off guard, there is a sense of vulnerability in her face. So she doesn't look as demonic as she normally does. And I just thought, oh, she looks pretty.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is not going to go your way, Veronica.
No,
these people are pissed.
Oh, everyone's
They're
pissed.
leaning forward on the couch and they want to get in your face about your behavior. And I'm all for it.
I love it.
Sat for it.
It's honestly great. And Tegan was actually trying to give her grace too during the intervention, which was kind of cool. Like Tegan said she really feels for Veronica in this moment because she is getting ganged up on with everybody just calling her out for her behavior. And Tegan's like, I don't condone any of her disrespectful, awful, vitriolic behavior, but at the same time I do want to try and give her some grace because it must be hard to have this huge room of people just coming at you unexpectedly when she didn't think that this was going to happen whatsoever. Yeah. But we begin the intervention. We're kind of where we left off last week, where Micah is telling Veronica that she's disrespecting everybody in the family and he can't really tolerate this anymore, and she's not apologizing to anybody or taking any accountability. We continue the conversation about the clickbait article that Veronica saw and then took as fact about Tegan having an OnlyFans.
No, she didn't. She fabricated the entire thing. I'm sure there was some weird article, maybe based on some rando Reddit post, but she did not believe that that was true. She was spreading vindictive lies about Tegan for absolutely no reason. Tegan was nothing but lovely to her. The only thing Tegan did wrong was have a great rack and be pretty and be present.
Yep. And that be a threat to Veronica in that way, because Veronica's insecure. And Veronica tries to say this in the moment, but she's not taking any accountability for spreading this rumor about the OnlyFans. Like, she just thinks that it's fact. She keeps saying it. She's like, well, it might have been clickbait, but like, I don't know. Like, I could also be the mayor. Like, you know, anything's possible in the world. And it's like, girl, take accountability for the fact that you spread this, but you literally can't.
She's a broken person.
She is such a broken person. And then we get to the part where Veronica tries to justify the whole clickbait OnlyFans article by saying she was worried about Tegan because Micah cheated on her, and so she was worried that Micah would cheat on her with Tegan. And this is where people start exploding. And Ethan's like, are you kidding, Veronica? You really think my brother would be that disrespectful to cheat on you with my girlfriend? Like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. And Veronica, I really think, thinks that this is a justifiable excuse. And it's not. It's actually delusional and psycho. And I understand, like, being insecure and nervous about your boyfriend cheating on you, because that's a very real thing to be scared about after such a betrayal. So I get that. But the way she's going about all of this and slut-shaming Tegan from some weird clickbait article that she may or may have not seen, that doesn't even really exist.
She might have been the one to submit that as a tip to whoever published that article. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's just crazy. And then you have Kim calling it out again, saying, like, you know, everybody else in the family gets along. You're the common denominator. You're the issue. And it just keeps escalating until there's a point where Micah's like, I can't do this anymore. You know what?
We're done. Thank God.
And he breaks up with her in front of everybody.
And I do think that surprised her.
Yeah.
And you could see some moisture under her eyes.
A little bit.
I do think that she began to cry and she began to realize, oh, well, the control that I have over this man is slipping away. And also I'm being exposed. And I do think this is why she went so hard before the season even dropped, because she knew how humiliated she was going to be in this scene in particular. Like, I don't think she's even thinking to herself about how bad she looked at the engagement or how bad she looked, you know, down in Boca Raton, the various fights. That she didn't even register that. But it was this moment, I think, that convinced Veronica to go on some sort of crazy social media vendetta. But then again, they're showing those flashbacks to the very beginning of the season, where she's talking about mixing the different elements and there's going to be a fire and calling Olivia. And so maybe this is also her plan. I don't know. All I know is something is deeply wrong with Veronica. I think you can chalk 10% of it up to her youth and just being like a little crazy, like we all were in our 20s. But like, there's a big chunk that is a personality disorder, if you ask me. That's pathological in some way. And then there's another chunk that's trauma-based, and that this is a reactive thing that she's doing to sort of push people away because she feels so bad about herself and also rejected by what Micah did. Like, it's just so broken and ultimately sad, but that doesn't give you a right. It is a reason, but it's not an excuse for you to be abusive to other people.
Yeah, it's not an excuse at all. And she tries to talk about it. Like, she does kind of, in her own weird, warped way, admit to the fact that she was just mixing chemicals and she was kind of concocting all of these like little stories and all of these lies and everything. But she doesn't get to the point of, I shouldn't have done that. She doesn't get to the point of, that was wrong for me to do.
She kind of does at the very end when she's in her interstitial and she's like, well, I guess I shouldn't have done that. And what I want people to know is that I did love him.
Okay, whatever.
Like, well, there was like a glimmer of maybe some self-awareness where she's coming into the realization, but like everything she said that led up to that moment was unapologetic and demonic. So I don't know the status of Veronica right now. I know that she was recently seen out with a guy. I know she's quiet now on social media, but I just hope that she gets some help, because I was crazy in my 20s. Truly, I was.
Yeah, I feel like everybody is.
Everybody's we're a little wacky, right? We're let out into the world and we go a little crazy, but like there's just another level to this behavior that it's just truly problematic, and it makes me wonder, like, if there's anything that can be done for it. I don't know. She's going to need some profound psychological intervention, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, because it's the fact that she feels the need to create so much drama in response to her own pain. She wants to hurt other people and she wants to cause all of this chaos so that way she feels better about the turmoil that she's feeling. And that's like what's so pathological and crazy. And like she's saying in this intervention, like, you guys are really blaming me for Micah's nose. And everyone's like, yeah, because everything that you have done has led up to all of this tension in the family. That's why we're trying to talk to you about it. You're still not taking any accountability or any ownership. And like after Micah breaks up with her and everybody starts leaving the room, Veronica says some shit like, I guess they just think that I'm a liar. I guess they just think that I'm such a bad person. And Kim comes back in and is like, no, like, I really tried to be nice to you. I really tried to do everything in my power to make you feel welcomed and to make you feel part of the family. And you turned around and called me a snake. Like, that's not okay. And Veronica says something like, I'm sorry for hurting you. And Kim's like, I appreciate the words, but I don't believe you. And this is where even with Veronica's like a little bit of accountability in her talking head, I don't believe it either. I think it's all part of her manipulation because she wants people to feel bad for her. And I don't
feel bad for her either. I really liked when it came out in front of the entire family that she had been talking to Olivia because Ethan didn't know about that. Or did Ethan know about that? No, Ethan did know about that.
He knew about it from Micah.
But like Kim did not know about that. And I don't know that Isaac knew about that. And so like everybody just kind of erupted, like, what are you doing? And she's like, yeah, I think Olivia's a great person. I really like her a lot. I'm just like, oh God, you are showing your ass so badly in this moment. And then of course, as we discussed in our last episode, Olivia has since come out and, disavowed Veronica and said she doesn't align herself with people who are bullies. And so that's just a further shame for Veronica.
Yep.
And I wonder how she's feeling in the year of our Lord 2025 in the month of October, because I would be feeling pretty badly if I were her.
I don't think she feels bad at all. I think she genuinely thinks like all of the Plaths are evil and they're terrible and what she did was fine. And she loved Micah. She did everything in her power to make everything work, and it was him and his family that were so toxic. Like that's how I think she frames it.
I think that means she's a psychopath, and
totally.
or a sociopath. Let me ask you this question: do you think that, irrespective of how repugnant Veronica behaved in this season, do you think that she was also what made this season so good and what kept us interested? Because I thought about that, like next season when y'all come back, and hopefully you do, and I don't know about the ratings, hopefully they've been good. What are you going to do? What are you going to talk about? There's not going to be an Olivia that we can blame. There's not going to be a Veronica that we can like reflect back on and blame.
Yeah. I honestly think that their drama was what made it. Because even last season, we had some drama with Ethan and Olivia, but a lot of it was just centered around her and her chest hair boyfriend and living her best life. And I'm like, I am so bored. I don't want to see this. I'm sorry. I don't know what next season's going to look like without these two. But I mean, I think Tegan and Ethan are broken up now. So maybe we'll get into some drama there. I wonder if they had a bad breakup because she's not following Ethan anymore on Instagram, which is a little weird, because if they had an amicable breakup, like maybe they could still be friends. I don't know. So maybe we'll get some drama still with that. It would be interesting to follow Kim around with her dating and stuff, because I feel like that's going to be drama-licious a little, but it's not going to be as good as the toxicity from this season.
Yeah, it was really, really poisonous with Veronica. And also, it really served to cast the Plaths in a better light.
A little bit.
And for a lot of the audience, like they hate the Plaths and there's just no redeeming the Plaths. But like having Veronica be even worse than the Plaths kind of helped us to love Micah a little bit and feel sorry for Mariah a little bit.
Yeah.
The only one I don't feel anything for is Ethan. I just think he's an absolute...
He's an asshole.
Trash person.
Yeah, he's definitely become a bitter, tight pants wearing man. I can't do it. And so after Micah breaks up with Veronica and everyone starts to leave, then Micah offers to take her home back to Boca, and the family's like, I don't think you should drive down with her by yourself. Like, we want to be with you. Somebody's got to be with you just so you don't get manipulated by her, because the family all recognizes how toxic and how manipulative Veronica has been, especially to Micah. And then it ends up the producers taking Veronica back to her hotel, and then she gets escorted to the airport or something and flies home to Boca. And then Micah, Ethan, and Isaac drive down to Boca, and then Micah, according to the producer edit here, Micah, escorted by a police officer, goes to their house, grabs all of his shit, and leaves, and then allegedly they have not spoken since that day. And this is just so rich to me, because we're getting what I assume to be the truth on the show. Prior to this season airing, Veronica was on the Reddits saying that Micah, Ethan, and Isaac tried to break into her house, and she had this security footage, the camera footage, showing that they were going to her house, and she was afraid for her life because these boys were trying to break in. They were trying to get Micah's shit.
Just another lie. And I don't understand why she felt like she could do that.
Yeah.
Like, didn't you know that this was filmed? And it really just goes to show, do not antagonize the producers. Because she was antagonizing the producers before the season even dropped. She was getting in their ass about, I think, featuring their home or her home and not like changing the color or like not using a sub home so that people couldn't find out where she lived. She said that production had put her at risk, therefore, and like she was getting death threats and all sorts of things. And I do know that after season 1 and during season 1, Veronica was getting a lot of hate on social media and people were saying some terrible things, but she really came after production, got in their ass, started to embarrass them. Like, if you were going to do that, you should have waited until the season was over, because I really think production, after she did that, went back through the footage and then made sure to show all of the incidents and maybe not all, maybe there's even more, but all of the incidents in Veronica's worst light so that we understood exactly who she was.
I really wonder what the picture of her would have been if she would have just stayed quiet at the beginning of the season and let it play out, and then she said something after. I feel like she would have had more people supporting her.
100%.
She could have spun the story in a better light for her if she wanted. She could have blamed it on editing if she just waited until the end. But no, like, you had to spew all of this bullshit at the beginning of the season. Like, all of it was pretty much lies, except for the fact that, like, Micah cheated on her and, like, maybe the STD stuff and the miscarriage. Like, I don't want to say that was a lie, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but, like, you shouldn't also be talking about somebody else's STD.
No.
Although I guess she said she got chlamydia. I don't know. I don't even care. Like, Veronica, that's the problem with lying liars who lie. We don't know what we can trust that you say. So I don't trust any of it.
Yep, I don't trust it at all. And so after the boys come back from Boca with all of Micah's stuff, we're back at the Plath family farm, and Micah recounts the incident when he was in the garage and like packing up the rest of his shit, and he just completely broke down. Veronica also broke down and was saying some shit like, just tell me you never loved me. And Micah's like, I can't say that because I did love you. I loved you more than anybody I've ever loved prior to you. Like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, we're not good for each other. And Micah says something about his therapist telling him maybe Veronica was sent to you by God to teach you that maybe you actually do want to settle down and you do want to have a long-term relationship, and you should take your relationships with women seriously instead of just sleeping around and fucking around. And Micah again expresses guilt and regret for cheating on Veronica, and he wishes he never did that, and he knows that that was completely wrong, and he doesn't want to do that in a future relationship ever again. And I kind of felt bad for him here.
I think he was being authentic.
I think so too.
I think that he definitely felt remorse. And I hope that he learned a lesson that that's just not the kind of thing that you do. You know, he moves all of his stuff back up to presumably live with Barry in the big house. He's going to take over Isaac's room and such. But then he also said, and then after about a week or so, I'm going to go back down to Boca and do fencing.
Yeah, which is weird.
So I think he's maybe got some contracts or something that he's going to have to complete in Florida. But it just really got me in my feelings because, and I've said this season after season, and you're going to hear Mama Delia say it again, but like I have a problem with the fact that Kim and Barry never equipped their children with an education or a trade. I mean, he does fences, so he knows how, but I mean, I'm sure he's self-taught. I don't think he's been in some sort of a program to acquire a trade, but like he's just trying to find work where he can. And that feels really bad to me because there you are, Barry. We see you in this episode sitting at your desk, working from home. Apparently, you make a lot of money. What did Kim say this season? He makes like 10 times more in his job than everybody else. And so he's making a lot of money. He set himself up with that education for a great future. Kim, you went to university. You didn't graduate, but you went to university too. But like you didn't help to equip your children emotionally so they could select good relationships for themselves that were healthy and that would progress in a good way. And you also didn't set them up with an education or a plan for their life. And so now we've got Micah, who has allowed himself to be abused by this woman for I don't know how long. And now he doesn't really have any prospects for himself. He's going to go back to Cairo and what? Farm? I mean, what are you going to do, Barry? Are you going to let him have the farm? What are we going to do for this kid? Well, that's my thing.
Same thing with Mariah. It's like Mariah's getting her heart broken over Mr. Potato Head and then dyeing her hair black and then getting these awful tattoos and then moving to Montana because she wants to run away from all of her problems. Lydia got married to the first guy she's ever dated after 4 months, doing Christian mission trips and everything. Like all of these kids are kind of lost, like trying to figure out adulthood and trying to do things on their own. And then on top of it all, after Kim educating them as poorly as she did, then Kim leaves their father, breaks up their family for Ken Palmer, gets drunk, and gets a DUI. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
crazy. It is. It's really fucked up.
Yeah.
And I know that some of the behavior of the older kids has been bad, and that's just objectively true. But at the same time, you have to always take it back to the way that they were raised.
Yeah.
You know, and after Kim splits, then we've got Lydia, who's now the proxy mom.
Right.
And she's never been a mom.
No.
She didn't sign up to be a mom.
She was a teenager.
So we're completely parentifying her. And so, yeah, the first boy that she meets when she's on some wacko mission trip to Colorado, she's gonna be like, can I hitch my wagon to you so you can get me the fuck out of this situation?
Yep.
And now here we are in this weird marriage, and maybe it's gonna work, and God bless, I hope it does. But I mean, statistically it doesn't look great, and also with my eyes it doesn't look great. And so I worry for Lydia. I actually feel the most hopeful for Amber, Cassia, and Mercy, because they're going to grow up as children in a broken family, see how that works, and educate themselves thusly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree completely. But while we're back at the Plath family farm and we're talking about Veronica and Micah getting all of his shit and moving out, then they start doing a controlled burn on the farm, which we've been seeing this preview kind of like all season. And I'm just wondering if like this was other shit that Veronica was trying to blame. Like, was this what you thought was a hate crime or whatever? Like them just doing a controlled burn on their own farm? Because Micah even says like it looks pretty crazy and dramatic. It looks like something went wrong. There was a disaster here, but it's necessary to control the farm, really. And we have Barry in his house mentioning how they have become aware after the breakup with Micah and Veronica that Veronica has been online and saying a bunch of shit about them. So I'm wondering if this is like when she started her campaign, or
It feels to me like it's April-ish, April or
Maybe.
May. I think Lydia got married in October or November of the
February.
year. February?
Yeah, she got
Oh
married.
God, my timeline's
Yeah.
screwed up. So yeah, I think this is like April or May. This is when Veronica is starting to appear on Reddit and say all the stupid shit that she's been saying.
Yeah. So, and the family has become aware of that. And I think we have Micah and Ethan saying something like, we just don't want to entertain any of that. And like whatever she's saying is just a bunch of bullshit. And Barry even says that too. Barry says, I never really called her a liar. I thought she embellished things, but now she's proven herself to be a liar.
Which she's going to love.
Oh, she's definitely going to love it. It's just going to add more fuel to her fire.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the whole point of filming the controlled burn on the farm, was to symbolize the fact that Veronica's just been burning every bridge, burning everything around her, pouring lighter fluid on everything and just creating such a disaster. Then we have Kim and Ethan, I think it's like a month or so later, smoking cigars out on the one of the homes, not the Plath farm, but one of the homes. And Kim's never smoked a cigar before, so of course Ethan has to teach her. It's just the tip, making a lot of sex jokes here with the mom, and I'm like, please stop.
Right.
I know we make sex jokes all the time.
But like, yeah, I don't want to envision that with Kim in particular.
No. Or Ethan, really.
Nope, neither of them actually.
Yeah. And then we have Lydia and Zach FaceTiming Kim and Ethan from Europe. The Louvre.
In France.
Yes, and this is where Ethan makes a bunch of other sex jokes to Zach and tells him to fill Lydia's croissants with cream.
I can't. Like, you have to superimpose yourself into a situation like that. You know, I have an older brother, and he would never. Like, and we joke around. We're very body together. We have a lot of fun, always have. But like, I could never catch him saying something like, make sure your husband puts the cream in the croissants.
I'm like, please.
That's wild. And also, It's on television, and I don't want to hear about that.
I wonder if he was trying to do that to make light of everything and try to, I don't know, be kind of like a brother to Zach after being such a shitty piece of shit this whole season, talking about how Zach's gay and how he doesn't like him, he doesn't know him.
I think he's trying to de-escalate the homophobia or the perception of the homophobia that he understands people are going to be having of him.
Yeah.
And so now he's trying to say, well, they were kissing and are you guys fucking? Because he's trying to pretend that he's not a complete, raging, inappropriate homophobe. It's never appropriate to be a homophobe, though.
No, of course not at all. And it's like, I think Ethan thought he was coming off like he was being funny with his homophobic jokes and stuff, because he portrays himself in a way that's like, ha ha ha, you're pressing up against each other, and like he's all of a sudden fine with them being married now that Lydia's made this choice. And it's like, no, dude, like, watch the footage of how you were acting. You were being a total asshole, and you were being aggressive, and you were being accusatory, and you were being homophobic. And now you want to play like it's all fun and games, and you were just joking and joshing around, and now you're going to joke about Zach filling up your sister's croissants. Like, please stop.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm not buying it, Ethan.
And like, while they're on the FaceTime call with Lydia and Zach, this is where Kim finds it appropriate to say, oh, yeah, did you know? Oh, no, actually, it was Ethan. Hey, did you know that Isaac beat Micah's ass at your guys' on your wedding night?
Rocked his shit to the core, sent that boy to the ER.
Like, did you know that happened after you guys left and also Micah and Veronica broke up? Like, maybe don't say that.
Wait until they come home.
Yeah.
Like, let them have their nice honeymoon.
Let them enjoy it. They're in Paris, for God's sakes. But no, we're just going to bring it up. And you can see the look on Lydia and Zach's face, like, oh, man, like, what a damper. And Lydia's like, oh, I guess I gotta call Micah. I gotta talk to him. And obviously, like, Lydia and Zach are innocent in all of this. Like, they didn't deserve to have all of this drama happen on their wedding night and have all of this shit be filmed as well. Like, it kind of sucks that their special day is kind of clouded with all of this toxicity. But I just feel like they could have waited instead of saying it on FaceTime. But what do I know? And then after they get off FaceTime, Ethan apologizes to Kim for, you know, believing Olivia and all of her bullshit and like letting that ruin his relationships with the family and his relationships with her. And this kind of opens up a conversation about Ethan and Olivia's divorce. Ethan says again that he hired an attorney to deal with the divorce paperwork because apparently when they signed it back in Minnesota last season and they filled it, or they turned it into the court, it was rejected because it wasn't filled out properly. And then Olivia wasn't answering any of his calls or texts. He hires an attorney. And then according to Ethan, Olivia also wasn't responding to his attorney and refusing to sign papers. And then this leads into their meetup.
But before we get there, we just have to acknowledge that it does seem like it was Ethan's mistake on the paperwork. Like he didn't fill it in appropriately for some reason, submitted it, and so the court rejected it according to Olivia. And also Olivia says in this episode, and we'll get there, but basically Ethan blocked her. After that, submit the paperwork and then blocked her so she couldn't contact him. She didn't know what was up with him. And so the minute he wanted to talk with her about the divorce because of Tegan, then he expected her to just jump to and do what he wanted. And so I just feel like Ethan really didn't go over his part in that.
I don't know.
Whereas he should have. You don't believe that?
I don't know. I think it was messed up on both their parts. I could see it as them being really young and not really knowing like how to fill out the paperwork properly, and it was like an honest mistake. But I feel like when it was rejected in the court, then there wasn't any kind of urgency on either side to try and fix it, and then they have to resubmit everything. I don't know. When we get to the actual meeting, though,
I can see Ethan sabotaging the paperwork because at the time he did not want that divorce, and I think he was still in love with Olivia.
But he signed it on camera.
But I mean, maybe he didn't sign his whole name, or maybe the date was wrong. I could see Ethan sabotaging. That's just what I'm going to put out there, and it's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it, bitches.
I could see Olivia sabotaging it too. I could see them both being petty
I think that's
betties.
what she's doing now.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
So when we get to the actual meetup, Olivia decides, I guess she's there in Georgia for a wedding. Ethan contacted her. He wanted to have a discussion about their paperwork or whatever. And so she agreed to meet him, but only in public at some like hotel restaurant or something. So she arrives at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. because that's when they said that they were going to meet up. And she's waiting for him, and we have a little bit of an interstitial with her where she blames Ethan for not filling out the paperwork correctly. She says that was the reason why they're not legally divorced. And then she says, according to Olivia, Ethan made her wait a year and a half to refill out the paperwork or something. So she decided to make him wait as a petty response back because he made her wait for so long. She was obviously traveling and doing her photo shoots across the world and living it up with Brendan and his chest hair. Apparently, they've moved in together as well in Washington, D.C. They got a townhome together. I don't care.
He's a dog walker, remember?
Yes.
So she's paying for everything.
She definitely is. But she's made him wait a little bit, and then she does say that Ethan had her blocked on everything up until this point where he unblocked her and wanted to meet up. So she arrives at the little courtyard and waits for him at 4 p.m., like he said that they would meet at. And then he ends up showing up 2 fucking hours late.
Ethan!
Which is crazy. And Olivia's like, this is just typical Ethan Plath.
Would you have waited for 2 hours?
No.
So let's just pause right there. Olivia, why are you waiting around for 2 hours? What is the reason for that? I mean, I have some ideas. Maybe that you wanted to film the scene. Maybe you want to be on the show. And she has a necklace that's a big P. Has anybody seen her necklace? It's a big P.
No, I didn't notice.
P for what? Is it Plath? I mean, you still using that name? How come you're still associated with that name? And you have every right to, because that was your legal name.
Yeah.
And you can retain it. But why do you want to if this family is so despicable to you? It's just a bit of a mystery. So why are you hanging out for 2 hours waiting on Ethan's dumbass?
That's the thing. And like, Ethan, why aren't you just like saying, hey, I can't meet at 4 p.m. because I've got XYZ going on. I'm going to be late. maybe we can reschedule it to a different day or something. No, like he's not courteous either.
It's a power move.
It is a power move.
He wants to dominate the conversation from the jump.
And so when he finally does show up 2 hours late in his tight jeans hiked all the way
I can't take it. Up to his nipples. My God, maternity
like,
pants.
do you think that makes your package look bigger? Because actually it looks like you're wearing a diaper. You know what I mean?
It's really unappealing.
I don't understand. Do you find that attractive when you see a big bulge, though, as a straight woman? Do you think
Well, I don't know. Like, straight women, and I can't speak for all of them, but like I mean, dicks aren't attractive necessarily.
They're not necessarily pretty.
So I don't want to envision a big old sausage and a couple of testicles. That's not sexy to me, but it does spontaneously produce a train of thought about like, okay, like well, how big? Yeah, that's kind of a nice size bulge. And so I wonder like if he's packing, and then you start to just envision yourself, you know, doing some things with that. But like, I'm not envisioning a dick or anything like that. I'm wondering like, ooh, that might feel good or something. I don't know. But like, I'm never me. Like I'm married. I would never look at a man's package. That's so funny because just last night I was up on IG, you know, I was putting up all those stupid reels on my stories, and I came across an account of only guys in Wranglers dancing.
Stop.
And I was just like,
did you follow it?
Almost. I almost posted it because I know how much you love when I post thirst traps.
I get so embarrassed when she posts thirst traps.
I was just like, I was watching for a little bit of time. I thought it was very captivating and compelling. That's all.
Oh my God.
But Ethan, no.
No, absolutely not.
Not captivating. Nor compelling.
Way too tight of jeans.
Diaper.
Like, I literally
booty.
Can't.
Baby.
I literally can't. And so Ethan finally arrives in his tight jeans 2 hours late. Olivia is obviously not happy by this. And
she's beautiful, though. She looks ethereal. Like in that white dress and her beautiful blue eyes with the red hair. I'm like, oh, girl, stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning.
She really is. Like, every time I see her, I'm like, you bitch. You're so gorgeous. It's ridiculous. But when Ethan arrives, he sits down and he's like, hi, how you doing? Okay, I've got 2 things I gotta say to you. I'm like, damn. People were calling him out, saying that he was really aggressive in this meeting, and people were like, oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, I'm so scared of Ethan.
Okay,
I'm like,
calm down, everybody.
You guys need to calm down. I don't think he was coming off aggressive. I think he was just trying to stand on business, and he didn't want to fight or deal with any of her bullshit. And he just wanted to get this shit done. So he comes out, he says, look, when can we finalize everything? Like, I want this divorce to be done. I want everything to be signed. I want to be rid of your bitch ass. And she goes, well, we can do it now. And he's like, okay, do you have all the paperwork and everything? Like, because I'm ready to do it now. And of course, Olivia's like, well, but like, do you have the original paperwork? Because I, of course, don't have anything. And Ethan's like, the original paperwork is like shredded at this point because it's been too long. Like, the courts are done. They've closed that. We have to redo everything.
Okay, Ethan. Well, if you wanted to have a meeting where you get her to sign the papers, well, then bring the papers with you. Don't expect her to facilitate the entire thing, you dope.
Well, also, if you have an attorney, have your attorney handle everything. Why is your attorney not there? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like, the whole thing is stupid. And Ethan says, well, you need to respond to my attorney then. Like, if we're going to do this, like, I have an attorney. I've hired him. Just fucking respond to it. My attorney will take care of everything in 2 weeks. And she's like, well, I'm not paying anything. And he's like, I know. I'm not asking you to. I just want you to sign the fucking paperwork and be done with all of this shit. And then this is where we have an interesting interstitial from Ethan, where he says, when they originally signed the paperwork back in Minnesota, Olivia conveniently skipped the part of the divorce paperwork where it was about her personal finances. And according to Ethan, that's why he thinks that the paperwork was rejected from the court, because she didn't fill any of that out. And I feel like that's probably true.
Listen, I missed that whole thing. I was having a cocktail at the time, and I had read like 300 chapters from Christine Brown Woolley's Sister Wife book, and I was absolutely in a catatonic state. I don't remember that. Did he elaborate on what financial information she failed to divulge?
It was about her personal finances. So I don't know. You've dealt with divorce stuff. I don't know what they do. Don't you have to fill out like your personal finances, like your accounts and stuff like that? Like, don't they have to know?
I would imagine, but like my second divorce was handled with a mediator, and
okay, so they probably filled it all out.
It was it was pretty amicable.
Easy, yeah.
Considering my first divorce. Also, it was just him and I going to some attorney, and we both agreed. We filed some paperwork. I've never been through a long, like protracted, litigated, contentious divorce,
like petty one.
Yeah, and so I never had to submit shit like that. So I don't know.
See, when my parents got divorced, I was a teenager, but I remember my mom complaining about stuff like that because my dad was also struggling with filling out his financial part of everything. And it wasn't like they were fighting about like who got what. We were poor. So it wasn't like we had a lot to like divide up or had a lot of assets or anything like that. But I remember my mom bitching about my dad not filling out the paperwork properly because it was about finances, because his weren't that great, but neither were my mom's. And so when Ethan said that about Olivia's, I was like, that is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why she wouldn't have filled that out. And I think we were talking, was it last week, about her finances and wondering like how can she afford to go internationally to all these places, and like she can't be making that much money. Like she is a very talented photographer.
Maybe it's
but
TikTok. I mean, I think she is
ad revenue,
an influencer of sorts on TikTok. I don't know how much money you can make doing something like that, but if I didn't disclose my finances, it would be because I wouldn't want him to know.
Right.
I would be worried he would divulge that to other people. Or I wanted to pretend that I was making less or more than I was.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
And like, I can understand if she doesn't want Ethan to know about her finances. I get that. Like, I'm not saying she has to have Ethan know all of this shit. But if we are to believe Ethan's rationale here, that was the reason why their paperwork was rejected, was because of Olivia, and then Olivia wants to blame it all on Ethan, I'm like, something is awry here. There's truth in the middle somewhere. I'm leaning towards Olivia didn't fill out something properly, and she wants to blame Ethan because she thinks Ethan's stupid.
And if that's the case, like if we go with that, I think the reason she wouldn't be motivated to conclude this divorce is because she wants to stay connected to this show.
Yep.
It's the reason she's wearing a P as a necklace. There's a reason that she's waiting for 2 hours when I wouldn't wait for 15 minutes for anybody. There's a reason that she's still willing to film, even though she knows at this point that she hasn't filmed anything except with Veronica, but she's willing to take the scraps because she wants the clout, the fame, or the check.
And that's like my thing is, if like Olivia has been saying ever since they got divorced, like the Plaths are terrible, they're abusive, they're toxic, they're all of these things, right? And Ethan was such an abusive, terrible person. Why wouldn't you want to get divorced from that person as fast as possible? Yeah, she's spinning it and like blaming Ethan, and Ethan's the one that doesn't want to get divorced. Like, okay, maybe at the very beginning, like maybe when they initially separated, I could see Ethan dragging it out, and he did admit to it, but then he signed the paperwork on camera in Minnesota. Like, he was ready to be done with everything, and then it didn't get done. She dragged it out as well, because she does admit to that. She's like, well, when you contacted me to fill out the paperwork, like I was overseas, and like you were being really pushy, and like I was just not about it. Like, I just want some niceties, and I want you to be polite.
I want to control the situation. But Ethan wanted to control the situation, which is why he made her wait for 2 whole hours, and then like he's gonna cut this meeting short too, but like I will let you get to that.
That was so good.
It was good.
When she's telling him that, like, you know, you contacted me when I was overseas, and like you made me wait, so like, yeah, I'm gonna make you wait a little bit. Okay, then you're admitting to being petty.
Like, being petty and punitive.
Oh my God. Pick a lane. Do you want to be petty and stay legally married to this guy that you claim is so abusive and awful and terrible? And like, look, that all might be fucking true. I'm not confirming or denying any of that. It's just, if you're saying all of that, why don't you want to be rid of him? Why don't you want to be legally single?
Guys, let's ask you the question. Why do you think Olivia wouldn't want to expedite the finalization of this divorce? Drop in the comments or write us on Instagram. You know, Beatrice loves those DMs.
Let us know. I've seen some people say like, oh, I would totally be petty too. And I'm like, I don't know. I am not that kind of a person. Like, if I was in such a terrible, awful relationship and I wanted to be out of it, I would have done everything in my power to be done with it as quickly and as smoothly as possible, just so I could fully block that person and be like, deuces.
And move on with my life.
Move on with my life. Like, I just don't understand. And so Ethan's like, look, I'm not trying to argue with you about the details of our divorce. Like, can you just fucking sign the paperwork so we can be done? And Olivia makes a comment in her interstitial like, well, you know, he was dragging his feet for a year and a half, if we're to believe that story. And so I'm not going to like drop on my hands and knees and do whatever he wants just because he wants the timeline, because I noticed that once he started rushing it, like he posted his new girlfriend on his Instagram.
And there it is. And there it is.
I'm like, why do you care?
Why do you care?
I don't understand.
She's pretty, because he's moving on, because he's not obsessed with you anymore.
Right. Because he's not just a depressed person, like losing you. I'm sorry, but he deserves to move on too. Like, I don't know. This whole thing kind of made me annoyed. And then Ethan's like, okay, whatever, divorce, fine. Okay, let's just get this shit done. I'll have my attorney contact you, whatever. My second thing that I came to talk to you about is stop slandering my family in public.
Will you? Will you please stop slandering my family in public?
And Olivia's like, no.
And Olivia says, and I agree with her. Olivia says, no. That's my lived experience. I had my own personal experiences with your family. These are my stories to tell, and I have every right to be able to tell them. So no, I'm not going to do that for you. And I think Ethan counters with, well, I mean, and now I'm just going to sort of paraphrase, but I think what he's saying is you can have your story and you can have your experience, but you don't need to slander and make up shit against my family, because that's not fair. And furthermore, you don't see me out in these streets, Olivia, talking about your family's business or talking about you or slandering you, which I took in the moment not as a threat, but kind of like, well, let me just bring it to your attention that I could be doing this to you. And maybe I will do this to you if you don't stop doing this to me. Maybe I have recordings of you being a crazy person. Maybe I have receipts that I could be sharing, but I haven't been because I just want to move on. And in that moment, when the camera pans back to Olivia, her eyes kind of widen. I think she receives and gets that. And I thought that was like, perfect.
I think so too. I think she kind of spun it as like that was a threat from Ethan, but it's like, no, that's the point though. Like, and I feel like there's a very fine line where you can talk about your experiences with the Plath family. I think I do agree with you, and I agree with Olivia that yes, this is your life. You were married to this guy. You should be allowed to talk about your previous marriage and talk about your feelings with him. And she even makes a good point in her little interstitial where she says they feel free to talk about me behind my back and everything. Like, why can't I talk about them? And I think that's all fair and valid.
Yeah.
But the problem here lies with a difference of perspective, because according to Olivia, it's not slander because it's her truth. But according to Ethan, it is slander because it isn't truth to him. Like, he's like, I remember these things differently. And that's like the problem with the human experience. Like, we all can experience things very differently from one another based off of our own pasts and our own like belief systems and our own triggers and our own perspectives, whatever. So there's always going to be like a little bit of a difference of opinion. But I do think that Ethan is right in saying like, look, like I don't talk shit about your family though. Like I really don't say anything.
And it sounds like I could.
And he probably can. He probably has some dirt on her and her family and the shit that they went through. And he doesn't say any of it. But she's bringing up past experiences that involve Ethan, and she has done this multiple times where she's talked about like the credit card scandal and all of these things that the family didn't want out in the open, and she brings it out in a very specific light so people view the story in a very specific way, and that's what Ethan has an issue with. And of course Olivia's like, no, I'm going to keep talking about my truth. It's not slander because it's the truth. And this is where Ethan's like, okay, gets up and says, all right, well, I've done all that I could do. I asked you nicely, like what I would like, and that's it. And you can do what you want. So have a nice life. Bye. Fucking leaves.
Boss moves. Because you could just feel that Olivia wanted to sit there and litigate their entire relationship.
Definitely.
She was relishing the opportunity to present herself as Saint Olivia once again and spin this on Ethan. But he walked in, knowing he wasn't going to allow her to do that.
Mhm.
And he walked out having not allowed her to do that. And I think he felt really smug because, again, he started it off with disrespect by showing up 2 hours late. And I'm not saying that's right.
No,
I think
of course
I think
not.
it's bad. I think it's wrong. And if
Yeah.
you want to resolve things, this is not the way
Right.
you want to go about it. But I do think it was boss moves. And I think it was the first time ever in their relationship where he felt like he had the power to do it.
Yep.
Because previously it was always Olivia and what Olivia wanted and him trying to make everything work and mediate between his family and Olivia. And now I've got to move from Georgia to Florida to Minnesota. Now she wants to go to California and I'm constantly appeasing Olivia.
Yep.
No more will I do this. We're doing this on my terms. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, I'd love for you to sign these papers, but I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. I can still get a divorce from you. We can still proceed and we can still get what I want. So do whatever you want to do with your fuck ass stupid shit. I'm out.
Peace. I thought that was pretty base.
It was
honestly.
toxic but based.
It was toxic but based.
Which is the entire show.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sucks because Ethan's behavior throughout this entire season has just been absolutely fucking atrocious and has made me hate him a little bit. But in this episode, I was like, okay. I thought that was kind of cool that he just gets up and is like, okay, bye.
Because it stunned her.
It did stun her.
And she wanted more. And she didn't get it.
You know what? She went on her Instagram after this episode aired. I want to read it.
Okay.
She says, a producer on the show who has a friendship with Ethan let me know that per their conversations with him, he had expressed a willingness to give me an apology and take accountability. That didn't sound like the Ethan I was married to, but I was not privy to how they spoke of me all season. So I ignored my gut and I decided that a public apology would be really nice and agreed to a meeting. My caveat was that I refused to meet him alone or in a private place, so it had to be in public and with all of the crew around. My last interactions with Ethan involved menacing, erratic, and dangerous behavior, and I told myself then that I would never spend time alone with him ever again. On the day of the meeting, I was super confused as to why he was 2 hours late, but kept ignoring my gut and figured that even if he did apologize, he is still a part of the Plath family and consideration has never been one of their values. When he walked in the gate and I could immediately tell that he was angry, I felt stupid for believing better and thinking that he'd apologize. I don't think I was done dirty by a producer. I think that person genuinely thought he would apologize to me based on their conversations. But I learned yet another lesson. Listen to my gut, and when I know who someone is, I don't need to keep giving them chances to hurt me. I have no plans to ever talk to him again. Now that I've seen some of this season air, I can see how much he hates me, has no respect for me, and plans to continue publicly disparaging me.
Well, that's rich, though, Olivia. You have been on a campaign of public disparagement. I mean, and I'm not saying that it's not valid for you to do that, but it's also valid for Ethan then to be able to counter that or to say his piece. But like, that just paints her as a complete victim.
Yep.
But it does underscore that she was showing up for an apology. She was, like I said, showing up to be Saint Olivia. And so then she could turn around and maybe lecture Ethan a little bit about his behavior and how much it hurt her over the years, taking no responsibility for her own shit.
Exactly.
At all.
Exactly.
And so, Olivia, I hope I never see you again. I don't know why we need you. I mean, hopefully production can create a good show with what we have left. But Olivia and Veronica, you are not necessary. No. And I know that's going to piss off a lot of people, but that's how I feel.
I've said this every single recap we've ever done, but it's like I don't understand how people like stand so hard for these women when it's like they clearly have toxic behavior patterns. And like, look, I've given Olivia a lot of grace this season because people have been comparing, like even Ethan after this meeting, Ethan's like, yeah, now I see that Olivia's just as bad as Veronica. And I'm like,
she's not.
No, she's not.
No.
She's genuinely not as bad as Veronica. Veronica's straight up evil. Olivia has been talking about her own experiences and a lot of it, there's been some times where she has made a mountain out of a molehill. Like even Ethan says that in this interstitial, he's like, I understand that Olivia has a lot of hurt with things that have happened with my family in the past, and there have been some things that have happened that were not necessarily pleasant, but there have been a lot of situations where Olivia has completely like embellished them or made them way worse than they needed to be, and that's the problem that I have with both Olivia and Veronica, that they've just made these situations way more toxic and terrible than they actually were, and it disparages me and my family. And I think that there's some truth to that from Ethan.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Like, I think that the Plath family is not great, you know, they're not perfect. I don't think anybody is perfect. I think that they've definitely done some things to hurt other people and the family, and Olivia and Veronica included. I get it. But I think that these girls have kind of embellished a lot of things and made it so that way they could get a lot of clout and a lot of popularity. And yeah. And then we kind of end the episode. It's at the same time as Ethan and Olivia's meeting, but we have Kim and Barry meeting at some wine bar or something. And this is like their final hoorah or whatever. I guess they finally cleared up their divorce. Everything's final. They are legally divorced and separated. I guess all they needed was to meet up with a mediator, and it was done in an afternoon. Barry is super giddy and happy about it. He's like, finally, the ball and chain is off.
Emphasis on ball.
A big old ball.
Sorry.
Big old
sorry.
ball.
I apologize.
But really, though.
Yeah, gosh.
And Kim seems happy too. It seems like they've also agreed to sell the White House that they are in, which is in Cairo. It's not the farm, but the other White House, the big family house.
Yeah, and I think they put it up for like high sixes, and I think that it's been dropping in price. I keep seeing on Starcasm that they're lowering the price because nobody's buying it.
I mean, in Cairo for $600,000, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's true.
That's crazy to me. But I guess they're selling that house. Barry's going to move into one of their other properties. I'm like, damn, how many fucking rental properties do you guys have? This is crazy.
Set themselves up really well, didn't they? Just not their kids.
No, not their kids at all. And I think Kim is like, oh, I'm going to get a camper on the farm or something, and we just kind of blow over that. Whatever. I wonder how much money she's getting from the divorce.
Too.
She's probably getting a good,
and she should. They were married for 25 years.
Yeah,
and she should.
I guess, but she's a cheating ass alcoholic.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't negate the fact that she was married to the man for 25 years, and that she raised those children, and that she participated in everything. She gets half.
She gets
half,
some.
Eddie, half.
She gets some. And then when Barry arrives at the bar, he's like, what are you drinking? And Kim's like, well, I hope you will get me a drink, and I hope you won't be stingy and just give me a glass. I want the whole fucking bottle.
She wants a whole bottle of wine. He orders a non-alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want an entire bottle of wine. And I'm just thinking to myself, like we talked at the top of this episode, like, but why, Kim?
Why?
Don't you know that we're all clowning on your ass because you had a DUI because you were drunk and stuff? And like, we're all worried about you because you seem to have a substance abuse problem. And so you're going to be on camera and order an entire bottle and make your husband pay for it, which he doesn't.
Yeah.
He gets her just a glass.
It's pretty great.
Which I thought was fantastic, but that was wild.
That was awesome. And then at the end of their meeting, because they're like reminiscing, and I really don't care about any of it. I just was caring about the bottle of wine. At the end, when they leave, Kim again brings it up, and she's like, you made sure to get me a bottle though, right? Because I want a bottle of white wine. And Barry's like, yeah, go to the counter and get it. And so she's like, where's my bottle of white wine? I'm like, you need to chill out.
Buy your own bottle. God. You just got a settlement.
For real.
Crazy.
It's not like you're broke.
Yeah.
Maybe she is, though.
Maybe she's broke. I don't know. She seems to be living well.
Yeah. But that's the end of the season.
That's it. And so I want to make sure that we give a grade to the season, because I think we left season 6 of Plathville with like a D- or an F. Like it was
awful.
Bottom of the barrel, terrible. It was all about Olivia and her tarot cards and the vagina chested boyfriend. But this year, my grade is different. What's your grade?
I think A-, B+. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
I think same. I would say A-.
Yeah.
I mean, they have rehabilitated themselves in my eyes. I am very curious to see what happens next year, if they're even going to be coming back. And if so, what are the storylines?
Right.
Is Ken Palmer going to be hard launched as Kim's fiance or something?
Oh,
is the next wedding that we're going to be getting Kim and Ken, and how's the family going to feel about that? And then what's going on with Ethan and Tegan, and did they break up, or was she just unable to relocate because she's got a child in Wisconsin? And so if Ethan wants to move to Cairo, which he expressed in this episode, then they would necessarily probably need to break up. And so what happened with that, and what's going on with Zach and Lydia and maybe showcasing their life. And then we've got Mariah over in Montana. And you know, I love me a Western romance.
Of course.
And so I'm just wondering, because she's at the like tip-top peak of her life. She's in her early 20s. She moved away to Montana where there are cowboys and ranches and all of this nature. And is she meeting somebody? Is there a romance that's happening? I want to know.
I would love to know.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing that saves this show is the fact that the Plaths aren't producing themselves pretty heavily. They are pretty authentic, like in their reactions to things and how they recount stuff. And that's what's really nice about it. As opposed to like Sister Wives where they're just fucking lying.
Season after season after season after season.
Fluff upon fluff. Like the Plaths, if they can keep that authenticity, like I would be interested in following them around and what they're doing. I just don't know if it'll keep me forever.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be dramalicious.
But we're going to be back.
Yeah.
And we're definitely interested.
I'm hooked still.
So is there anything else that we want to say to these beautiful raccoons before we get up on out of here, Beatrice?
Well, if you love our podcast, please go to your favorite podcast platform and leave us a glowing 5-star review. It really helps us grow the pod so more people can join us in the dumpster. We really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
We will be back later this week with our recap of Sister Wives and also Cody Brown on Special Forces. I hear he gets knocked the fuck out. Please. So I definitely want to talk about that with you. And you, make sure to come back for that. But until you do, please do not forget that we have nothing but love for you. And peace.